Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra. That is Jarvis. And listen, as always, we appreciate you guys for pulling up, especially on a Falcons Friday. Yay!
It's
And
going
we
down.
appreciate you guys for always downloading the podcast wherever you get your podcast and for giving us a 5-star review too. That is always appreciated. And what you do to really support our entire Locked On Sports Atlanta network, going to YouTube, subscribing and liking and getting us closer and closer to 3,000 subscribers. But like I said, it's big energy, really, Jarvis, for this entire Atlanta sportscape this weekend. Because get this, of course, we know we talked about the Braves in the first segment. They have a 4-game set at the Marlins to maybe make up some ground ahead of that showdown with the Mets next week. Then you got the Dream. They are still in playoff contention. They're right now in the number 8 spot, right? And they've got 2 games. Liberty play them tonight at home. They go to New York to play the Liberty Sunday. You win them both, you're in with no question, and you gotta love that. And then United back in the playoff hunt. Good look after beating the Sounders last week. Now, if they get this win in Cincinnati, at least a point, walking away with at least a point in the result, or 3 points and get a result, like that's a good thing. And we love it all. We love that there's big energy in the city for sports, but the biggest energy, even though they are not physically playing in the city this weekend, is the Falcons because, like we said, Jarvis, it is game day. So
Right.
we'll have our eyes peeled to what's going on tonight. So many different storylines leading up to this first preseason game. But let's start with the rookie class of
Hmm.
2022. We've been watching them closely just to see how everyone from the top of the rookie class in Drake London all the way to the bottom of the rookie class with a Justin Schaefer, how these guys have been faring. So when you tune in tonight, which rookie are you most looking forward to seeing, and what do you want to see from him?
You know what? I want to advocate. Like I'm gonna keep pounding that table. Like you know me, you know how I get down. To like at the end of the day, like I want to see why the Falcons drafted him because there are like you talk about developments and John Chuckery of hitting hard with John Chuckery. Check that out, by the way. We were having a conversation about second round players and and what they should and should not do, but
Yes.
and I think that is guys. But at the end of the day, came to the conclusion that at the end of the day, guys are going to develop how they develop, right?
Yeah.
Either they're going to end up developing into a player, whether or not that's in the first year, you see it in the first
Mm-hmm.
year, or you see it in the second year.
Mm-hmm.
But because a prime example is right on this roster, right? Richie Grant. Richie Grant is a
Yes.
guy that he was couldn't figure out the defense last year,
Mm-hmm.
and he was thrust into a position that he never really played. He
Mm-hmm.
was out of position last year, and he stepped in and did a fine job. And now we're talking about him being a potential in his second year being a potential breakout player. So, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I know I have to practice patience, but when given how the Falcons have rushed the passer in the
Yes.
last 10 years, I just
Yes.
use that as a number. I can even probably go further back than that. But just let's say in the last 10 years, the Falcons have been one of the worst teams rushing the passer in the league.
Agreed.
Guaranteed, you can look it up. Not you necessarily, but for those who may disagree with me, go look it up. These guys haven't been able to get to the quarterback,
Right.
and everybody knows that. So I think that the first guy that comes to mind for me has to be Arnie Ebiketie. Like I want to see why the Falcons drafted him. Flash tonight, please. I need you to
Yeah.
flash. Like get your flashlights out. I want to see. I want to see him at least put the quarterback on the ground, attack him for
Mm-hmm.
loss, something. Give me
Mm-hmm.
something, man.
Yeah, and as we talk about all the time too, it'd be great to see him get a sack. But even if you disrupt the play, even if it's a situation where
Yeah.
you get a QB hit,
Knock
we'll
a ball
take that
down.
too. Because
Something.
to exactly to that point, that shows us that you're okay with bringing pressure and that you're going to be a part of that 3-4 that says, I'm coming around and I'm coming for you. And I'm going to at least make you think twice the next time you throw that ball. And I'm going to go on the offensive side and say, I'm very intrigued to see what Tyler Algier gets to do because I truly believe that even with all the weapons in the receiving core and the tight end core, and we're thinking that we have at least some solid play from the quarterback position, I don't believe any of it is going to get where it needs to be without a run game. And yes,
Yes,
we have
Lord.
Cordero Patterson, but again, if
Amen.
I'm looking at somebody that I want to shine, I want it to be Tyler Algier. I want to see what he's able to do if his O line gives him the opportunities and they create some gaps. I want to see you get through the gap and go. I want to see you get to that second level and just go. Or I want to see you be able to at least get past the first, like get to the first level. Let's just start right there. Get to the first level, get some chunk yards on those first downs so that we're getting into second and shorts or even third and shorts and you can move the chain. So he's my guy that I'm looking at from a rookie perspective. Now, switching gears, Jarvis had a lot of veterans, especially acquisitions, right? So when you look across that entire space of veterans that the Falcons acquired in the offseason, who are you most looking forward to seeing tonight and what are you kind of looking to see out of that veteran?
You know what? It has to be, a guy, a couple guys kind of come to mind, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
that, there's, of course, Lorenzo Carter, but I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to
Okay.
go Elijah Wilkinson because,
Yeah.
this is the guy that's been inserted into the starting spot ever since the second day of camp,
Mm-hmm.
and whether or not you want to believe it's for injury purposes or
Mm-hmm.
just better purposes, in regards to Jalen Mayfield, I think
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter at this point. I
Right.
just want to see somebody that's capable in that slot, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
Wilkinson is a guy who played mostly right tackle. Being since he's been in the
Mm-hmm.
league and he's moving
Yes.
down inside, and I think that there's a
Mm-hmm.
different element that you have to kind of make
Right.
an adjustment to. And
Mm-hmm.
Mayfield may or may not be able to do that because he played tackle in college as well.
Right.
So I think that's the main key for me is just like if
Mm-hmm.
I can see a 5 to 6 yard gain and literally
Right.
right over in that 2 hole or in
Mm-hmm.
that 3 hole on the left side of the offensive line, I'm just like, oh, that's what that looks like. A
Yeah.
gain of yardage, a plus, not minus. That's a good thing. That's what I'm looking for. That I
Right.
would be very excited if I see that tonight. I'm for sure.
Yes, and I'm gonna keep you guys with a cliffhanger on my veteran acquisition that I'll be checking out tonight because first I want Jarvis to tell you guys about what else hypes him up. We know Falcons game day hypes him up, but also Coffee AM.
Let me tell y'all something, man. Coffee AM, go there right now. coffeeam.com/logged on. Now, I'm about to tell you why you need to go to that website because
Mhm.
it is the best small batch coffee roaster in the entire country. And I ain't just saying that jump because when you put in your order, you go to the
Mhm.
website, they're gonna make it right then and there for you. Like literally, they're gonna make it right there. So it's gonna be super, ooper, duper fresh. So you don't have to worry about anything because I know sometimes I drag in the morning. Sometimes I don't wake up right at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the
Mhm.
morning like I'm supposed to go get my workout on. But when I don't, I get up and I'm feeling groggy and I just need to pick me up. I'm going to Coffee AM. I love, love, love those K cups.
Yeah.
The Kenya version, like they got all over the country. Like, what are you talking about, Jarvis, Kenya? They got coffee from all over the country, and you just waking up and smelling all this good stuff. I'm talking about it just make you want to just do something crazy. I was about to say something else, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah,
But
let's not.
let's not do that. So here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna do. Before I get in trouble, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you need to do. Go to coffeeam.com/locked on. Drop in that coupon code box, locked on, and you're gonna get 15% off of all coffee, teas, and get sets on
Yes.
your first order. So do it right now. The code is locked on. 15% off. Go ahead and do it right now.
Yeah. And like Jarvis said, in addition to the coffees, I love the tea. So check out those teas and those gift sets as well. I think you will enjoy that. Now, Jarvis, going back to our question around the veteran acquisition that we'll most be looking at, like you mentioned, Elijah Wilkinson. I love that pick, and I'm going to be taking a look at him as well. But I want to throw somebody in there too, because I think from the perspective of corners, we're excited. We're definitely
Mm-hmm.
excited, and we're believing in AJ Terrell, and we're believing in Casey Hayward, right? So we think we're good
Right.
to go there. And we're kind of confident and feeling very much more encouraged, especially after going to watch training camp this past weekend, in what Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins will be able to do. My intrigue is, and we know that, by the way, that the starters are going to play for both the Falcons and the Lions tonight. So we'll see those guys at least for a couple of series, we hope.
Right.
What my question is on what happens to everybody really that's down the depth chart. But since we only get one, I want to see what Dean Marlowe is going to do, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he at this point would be kind of, your second on that safety depth chart. And of course, we wish no ill will to anyone, but we have to start thinking about the fact of what if somebody goes down. Do the Falcons not just have quantity in the depth on both sides of the ball, but do they have quality? So I'm actually going to be looking to see, once those starters finish the series or two that they're in, what a veteran like Dean Marlowe will bring to the table, and a couple of other ones, but we'll leave it at that because I have one more question to ask you before we wrap up, right? So we're thinking about the game, and we're going to have all eyes, and we know you guys are going to be watching too. And hey, drop us a comment, whether it's on Twitter, you see our Twitter handles down there, or whether it's a comment on YouTube. Drop us a comment and give us your thoughts after the game as well. But want to know, just give me one thing that you feel, Jarvis, will mean success for you tonight: winning the game, winning just that first quarter when the starters are in there, or a position group that actually wins their battle.
I think his position group actually wins their
Mm,
battle. And you know what I'm leaning towards, right? Let it be the offensive line or defensive line, right? You sit up and say, like, man, the Falcons actually look better than the Lions' offensive line. That's what I want to say. I want to be
mhm.
able to say that. Now, as bad as the Detroit Lions have been, they got some pretty doggone good offensive linemen on this. I'm talking
Yes,
about Panay
yes.
Sewell, who is an absolute monster on the field
Hmm.
right now. Like the way he was going at it with Aiden Hutchinson
Yes,
on HBO Hard
right.
Knocks. I was like, man, this dude is so good. Why didn't the Falcons draft him? But that's a whole nother
Yeah,
conversation for
right,
another day.
right.
But yeah, but seriously though, I think that if you can sit up here and say that the Falcons secondary locked down the Lions wide receivers, or the Falcons offensive line held their own against the Detroit defensive line, I think that will be a solid win in a battle, like where the final score probably wouldn't even matter if you're able to
Yeah,
say something like that.
I agree. I agree. I'm not looking at that final score. I could care less. Yes, I would at least like the Falcons to win the first quarter, but if they don't win the game, no harm, no foul. I'm going to go with you and say I want to see the same. The position group, whether that's the D line that wins the battle for the Falcons or whether that's the O line, it'd be great if they both win the battle. But anyway, since we're talking about just winning the trenches, bottom line, position groups that are tied to the trenches win your battle. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about some winning that's going on right here in Atlanta. Our sports scene is exploding. And you know what? They say, and a child shall lead them. We're getting some leads from these young guys right here in the A. So we'll talk about it on the other side in For the Culture.